G'day all, welcome to a short information video about Speed Week 2026. My name is John Gairdner, I'm the President of the DLRA, and I'm joined by Corinna Steeb, who's the Treasurer of the DLRA.
Hello.
We are at the Prancing Pony Brewery, which is a major sponsor of the club, and we're having a lovely Serenity of Speed.
Cheers.
Cheers. First of all, the official stuff. So the sanctioning body of Speed Week is the DLRA, and that is very important. We are not affiliated with any other motorsport associations, and it is our club that runs the event. Now, entries are open. We encourage everybody to enter as soon as possible. It certainly helps with some admin tasks and with the finances. The sooner you enter, the sooner we can work out all sorts of things. You need to be a fully paid up member. If you are currently a financial member, you can hit upgrade on the website very simply. You'll pay your $75 and you will be a member. The financial year is the calendar year, so you'll be paid up until the end of 26. If you're currently not a financial member, you can pay only your 2026 and you'll be active from January 1st, 26, which will include Speed Week 26. Lake access. Now, the lake access has a fee that applies to every single person that enters. It is very, very reasonable. It's only $80 for the entire time that you are there. Whether you're there for a day visiting as a spectator or whether you're there for 12 days as a volunteer and as an entrant, like a lot of the club members are, it is just $80. It is very reasonable. We do pay quite a few fees to various organisations in order to access the lake and to use the lake. It's very important. Now, the only access point for the lake, and I repeat, the only access point for Speed Week 2026 is through Maldive Station and Colendo Station land. Now, we are very, very grateful to the station owners for allowing the access through. If it wasn't for the access and it wasn't for the cooperation of the particular Maldive Station, we would not have an event. It's very simple. So I repeat, the only access for Speed Week is through Maldive Station land. All entrants, so whether you are a spectator, a volunteer, a committee member, it doesn't matter, you will have a valid wristband to enter the lake. If you do not have that wristband, you will not be allowed access. It's fairly simple, because if you have the wristband, it means that you've been filled in on all of the rules and the regulations and all of the safety aspects, all of the Department of Environment and Water rules and regulations we have to tick as well. They're onto some camping matters. There's been a lot of discussion about camping at the National Parks campsite at Waltumba Tank, which is well away from the Maldive access that we use. Now, it is a National Parks campground. It is officially available for use by any members of the public. It is, however, not access for Speed Week. So, referencing my point earlier, the only access for Speed Week is through Maldive Station and Waltumba Tanks. You can camp at, you just cannot access the event. It is not safe to access by foot or by vehicle if you are staying at Waltumba Tank National Parks campground. We have an active race event. We have vehicles going 200, 300 miles per hour only a short distance away. It will not be staffed, however it will be signed. We are liaising with National Parks and the department to make it very, very clear that if anyone is staying there, there is strictly no access. It will be effectively shut down with the signage pointing to no access between the 6th and the 16th of March, so well and truly outside of the dates of Speed Week.
And John, this is really because prior to the race, we will have to have vehicles out there accessing, preparing and so forth. So there is a period before the race and after the race where there really is no access over to the event or the preparations of the event from that side.
Correct. So there's lots of work to be done to set the event up. So the whole safety thing applies well and truly before and after the event, hence the 6th to the 16th of March dates there. The camping options that we do have as mentioned, you're welcome to camp at the three national parks access, but you must still go through Mount Ive. Mount Ive have generously offered their saltbush camping site, which a lot of you would be familiar with, which is right next to the lake. It is a beautiful little campsite. Now, the very, very strict rules are you must be completely self-contained. Now, that means your toilet, your shower, your rubbish, everything that you bring in, you must remove. That's fairly simple. You must be self-contained. As with previous years, there will be some facilities that the club provides on the lake, i.e. toilets. However, at the campsite, you must be self-contained. The fees have been set at a flat fee this year by Mount Ive Station. So if you camp at Saltbush, if you're there from Sunday the 8th for the event, you'll pay a flat fee of $150, which is very reasonable. If you arrive prior to that, it's $220. Now, if you are a volunteer arriving prior to Sunday the 8th of March, Mount Ive have agreed to cap the camping at $150, which is, again, very reasonable. And
this is authorised volunteers that we know and we have registered as volunteers for our insurance purposes.
And that's a really important point. You can't rock up and say, oh, yeah, well, I'll help out with something like I always do. You need to be actually on our volunteer register. You need to have been contacted by our volunteer coordinator to say, yes, this is your job. And we need to be able to prove that in order to get the subsidised camping rate. That's very important. Mount Ive Station have got plenty of day trip passes available. So for spectators that are coming up just for the day, they do a very reasonable rate for a car. It is slightly more expensive if it's a bus or a truck or something like that. That is essentially commensurate with how much damage the vehicle will do on the road. A motorbike is very cheap. So come on a bike.
And John, there is also obviously toilet facilities. We do not expect a bike rider to have a portable toilet strapped to the back of their seat.
Yeah.
There will be toilet facilities available, but obviously if you are camping, even as a motorbike rider, you must be self-sufficient on your campsite. That's a very clear instruction from Mount Ive.
Absolutely. And look, if you do need more info regarding the camping or access, Mount Ive Station is extremely responsive and friendly to answer any of your questions. On camping as well, if you wish to stay at Mount Ive Station, it's approximately 30 odd kilometres from the lake, so it is a bit of a drive to get in and out. But the facilities at Mount Ive Station are exceptionally good. There is some very, very good shower facilities, excellent toilet facilities. There is a camp kitchen, which is huge and well equipped. There is a bar that stocks Prancing Pony beer, I might add, among many other things. There's some basic supplies and things there as well. There is unleaded, there is diesel, so there's plenty of supplies. So certainly camping at the station is well worth it. Their official accommodation is likely already booked out. However, if you want an unpowered site, it is the very reasonable fee of $30 per person per night, and that gives you unlimited access to all of those facilities that I've just mentioned.
It might just be worthwhile mentioning that Mount Ive doesn't have a restaurant, so you still will have to look after your own food supplies if you're camping on that side. In the huts, and there's, as John said, there's a massive kitchen, so you can cook up a storm.
On to food options, that leads us in nicely to food, drink and ice options. Corinna, would you like to go through the catering we've organised?
Yeah, so directly on the lake there is a shed which we call the lake shed for the time being. We have a canteen there that is staffed by Dogger and his amazing team. They've been coming to the lake for a very long time and they know how to operate it. They're putting on dinner, lunches, breakfast. They have coffee machines. They make sandwiches. They have sweets. They have soft drinks. They have pretty much everything that you wouldn't expect to find at the edge of a lake. So they're very well equipped. For their dinners, they put on a buffet and they put that on from Saturday onwards. So that's the 7th.
So yes, Saturday the 7th of March through to Friday the 13th.
Yeah, and they will do it for $30. And You can pile your plate up as high as what the plate will take it.
Yep.
And there are vegetarian options and all sorts of amazing food options there. But do remember, it is a pop-up facility, and obviously we are at the edge of the outback, or in the outback, so do not expect your fancy prawns. We've got no spot, and that won't happen. But it is very good tackle, and most people eat there. And it would be good if you check the canteen out, because obviously those guys go to great lengths to provide the food, and it will be important that it makes them worthwhile doing it. They also have a facility on the lake itself where they provide coffees and sandwiches and burgers and all sorts of things during the day. They also provide the ice for everybody. So if you need to refill your esky, there's ice available, and it's a wonderful...
So Dion Higgins and his crew will be there with their ice trucks, and yes, it will be available both at the canteen, at the lake shed, and also on the lake throughout the day. So Dion and his crew will cruise around, not only selling ice but also selling Super Dupers. So if we do get to 35 plus degrees, it's nice to have a Super Duper.
And then, of course, Prancing Pony, we have an adjacent bar that we're setting up. Now, we have made this beer called Serenity of Speed. I think this is the 5th year that we're making it. And funds of the sale of that beer flows back into the club, and which we will bring plenty of that beer with us, but we also bring some wines, some mixers, some ciders. And in our case, we will have FPOS available on the lake, so you don't have to stock up everything with cash, but it is always wise out there to have some cash provided. And
on that, there will be FPOS facilities in limited quantities. Just bring cash, it's the safest. We will have some basic FPOS facilities, but that is dependent on things like Starlink working, so please just bring cash, it's easier. A note on the vendors that we have: it is excellent if we all support the vendors. Both Dogger and his crew and the Prancing Pony Brewery really do it to support the club. They're not doing it as a money-making exercise. It is a huge undertaking, particularly with Dogger and his crew. They have a semi-trailer. They have a refrigerated semi-trailer that they bring. So it is a massive undertaking, and it really is done as support to the event and to the club. So it's really important that we all get in there and we buy a couple of beers and we have a few meals and we buy a couple of things, buy a couple of coffees from Dogger, just to show some support. And then we get them back year after year.
Well, do you want to talk about the auction?
Yep. We will be having the auction on the Wednesday night. So the auction night is Wednesday the 11th of March. It will be held at the lake shed at the side of the lake this year. So we should be able to enjoy a wonderful meal, a couple of beers, a sunset, and then an auction. All proceeds of the auction will be going to the club. We may choose to donate some to a charity. Again, that will be discussed. It's a pretty important event. Corinna has
to sweeten the deal a bit, we thought we throw in every entrant that picks up their registration pack from the registration van will have a token in their registration pack, and that token will get you a beer free of charge on the night of the auction.
Free beer.
Yeah, we want to see as many people come to the auction and really contribute and feel part of the dry lake racing family, and we continue the tradition of having an auction.
Thank you, Corinna. On to any newbies that are visiting the lake. Hopefully people get some useful information out of this, and if you are a new visitor to the lake, just a couple of reminders about things that those of us that have been going for a while, we're well aware of, but if you are coming, be super sun smart, and you need to be covered up in places that you may not think you need to be covered up in. The sun quite literally bounces off the surface of the salt and can burn people in very interesting ways. Bring plenty of sunscreen. You need to bring heaps of water. You should be drinking at least a couple of litres of water a day, and then particularly if it gets super hot. and for entrants as well. It's amazing particularly if you're a bike person, if you're sitting there in the leathers and baking out in the sun, and then doubly so if you're a car person and you're sitting inside a metal box in the sun, you'll dehydrate extremely quickly, speaking from experience. Bring some warm clothing though. So yes, it gets super hot, we're in the middle of the outback, but because we're in the middle of the outback, some of the nights will get quite cold, single digits, even quite low single digits, so bring some warm clothing. There's no phone reception whatsoever. Basically, as soon as you turn off at Iron Knob to go on the dirt up to the lake, there is no mobile reception. There is plenty of Starlinks these days, but really it's just for an emergency. If you stay at Mount Ive Station, Mount Ive have some really good Starlink coverage, including some Wi-Fi repeaters stationed all around. So you will have some internet access if you're staying at Mount Ive. And as I said, there will be some Starlinks for emergency purposes on the lake and at the lake shed, and probably also in the Saltbush camp. You must place a tarp under every vehicle that may leak. So if you have a trailer, that's okay, but if you have a motorbike, a car, a truck, etc., you must have a tarp under it at all times on the lake. Now, we must stress this. This is an absolute condition of our hire of the lake with the Department of Environment and Water and National Parks and the traditional custodians. We must protect the lake. There's a few little things that if we don't do, quite simply, then people will just say, nah, you couldn't be bothered doing that, see you later, and then the event's off. So super important. If you wish to purchase a tarp, there will be tarps available to purchase from the merch area. Buy a DLRA shirt and buy a tarp at the same time. That'd be perfect.
I could see how you did a little sales pitch.
Yeah, you like that?
I did like that. Yes.
Yeah. You need to bring some tech screws to secure your tarps down. Don't bother trying to bring tent pegs and hammers because the salt is so hard. It is looking really good. We are all hoping for some super hard salt this year, and it is looking pretty good. But you basically need an impact driver and long tech screws to secure everything down, so come prepared. When you are driving on and off the lake at what we call the boat ramp, you must be walking pace, and we can't stress that enough. You need to go as slow as you physically can until you think you can't go any slower. That is how slow you need to go. The lake edge is super soft. It is literally like a lake. It is quite muddy. We have some mats that we use to try and mitigate some of the damage. It doesn't always work because people go too fast. You're out there for a long time. Take your time, have a little bit of patience, and hopefully it stays a bit better for everyone. As you may understand, by the end of the week, with however many hundreds, if not thousands, of lake entry and exits we have, it gets a little bit rough. So let's try and keep it really nice for this year. Family and friendly event, we must make a reminder that we have some rules as a club regarding consumption of alcohol, consumption of drugs, and just a general conduct of members, spectators, visitors. There is plenty of families that come to visit, and there's lots of children. We need to remember we have a dress code. We have some rules on smoking. We have some rules on drinking. We are a very family friendly event, and we hope to attract a whole heap more younger members. Next year we will have our youngest ever entrant at 12 years of age, which is awesome. Don't tell my 6-year-old son, because he wants to be the youngest entrant ever. He's working on it.
I think it's really important that we stress that just as much as we have to adhere to safety rules and regulations, we have to adhere to the rules of the club, and they obviously include a dress code. They do include behavioural items. Remember that people store flammable fluids on the lake, and so smoking, there will be an area that will be designated for smoking. Do not smoke on the lake, and if you're a smoker, under no circumstances discard your butts. So Anything that you bring into the lake needs to come off the lake, no different to what we have discussed on the camping.
Yep. Lake entry is strictly sunrise to sundown. That is a condition of our hire with the traditional custodians and with Department of Environment and Water. We have some access outside of this for people like the timing crew who have lots of work to do, but public access sunrise to sun up, and this will be monitored. We have a professional security firm, so we have an official third-party security firm this year who will be conducting patrols 24 hours a day, so they will be patrolling both the lake and the saltbush camp, and they will be reporting people for any breaches as we see fit. On that topic, still don't leave any valuables unattended. That's a good rule for any sort of event where there is lots of people, and we are hoping to have lots of people. If any of these rules that we've spoken about are not adhered to, the club does reserve the right to expel somebody. Now, of course, we don't wish to do that. That's not the intention. The intention is that everybody has a great time and we enjoy an awesome Speed Week once again. This is number 36, and we hope it to be as successful as all the others. However, we must make mention that if you do not adhere to the rules, you will be expelled, possibly not only from the event, but from the club. This is not a full list of do's and don'ts. Please visit dlra.org.au. There's lots of info there. Please email info@dlra.org.au and we will respond to whatever queries you have, or give us a call, always open. And let's have a great Speed Week 2026. Thanks for watching.
Most of all, if somebody has a question, really, John, you make yourselves very freely available.
Absolutely.
So John's email address is posted on the Dry Lake website. So please just send him an email, give him a call. And if you're not sure about something, or if the rule book becomes a bit overwhelming, do actually ask questions first. We've been out there 9 years now.
Something like that.
And it was a bit of a daunting task when we went out the first time, so we were lucky that we had people that helped us along. So we're here to help everybody along to have a fantastic time. So cheers to that.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks,
Cheers.
everyone.